Hello and welcome to my channel. In this video we will be talking about, or I will be talking about, the wonderful jazz singer Billie Holiday. And I do have two disclaimers. One disclaimer that is quite important and one disclaimer that is less important, so to speak. And let's start with the most important one. In this video we will be talking about heavy subjects such as drug abuse, unfortunately, since Billie sadly suffered from this throughout her life. So we will be discussing these heavy topics, and if you feel like you cannot really handle that, it is totally okay to not watch this video, because your mental health and your well-being comes first. So with that disclaimer out of the way, let's mention the less important one, and that is about me, about moi. And it might be extremely uninteresting for some of you, but my makeup today might be a little bit cakey because I have recently started to experiment with base makeup, the powder, BB cream, CC cream, concealer. Yeah, I already mentioned concealer, but I have not yet quite figured out how to make it look decent, or well, it probably looks decent on camera, but in real life it's pretty cakey. And yes, especially for men, this might be very, very uninteresting. And most of you are older than me. I was going to say old, but you're not old, don't worry, I don't think you're old. You're just older than me. I am 22 years old and I'm from Sweden, by the way. And my name is Annika, but you can call me Annie, since that is more universal, and some people throughout the years have actually called me Annie. Yeah, let's just put all of this behind us and get right into this interesting video about Billie Holiday. Billie Holiday was born on April 7th in Baltimore, Maryland, as Eleonora Fagan, or alternatively Eleanor Harris. She was the daughter of Sarah Julia Fagan, also called Sadie, who was 19 years old at the birth of Billie Holiday. Clarence Holiday was considered to be Billie's father. He was a successful jazz musician, born on the 23rd of July in 1898. He played banjo in several jazz bands in his youth, including the band of Blake. Maybe Weeby. Yubi or Weeby, I don't know. And at age 16 he became the unmarried father of Sadie's child, Billie. He did actually marry Sadie 3 years later. He played rhythm guitar and banjo in Fletcher Henderson's orchestra, which was active from 1928 to 1933. Clarence recorded with Benny Carter in 1934. He also recorded with Bob Howard in 1935. Clarence worked with Charlie Turner in 1935 and with Louis Metcalf from 1935 to 1936, and the Don Redman Big Band in 1936 to 1937. Clarence did die in 1937. Unfortunately, when he served in World War I, he was exposed to mustard gas, and he later fell ill with a lung disorder while he was on tour in Texas, and he was refused treatment at a local hospital. By the time he received treatment in Jim Crow ward of the veterans, hospital. Sadly, pneumonia had set in, and for Clarence this was fatal. Clarence rarely visited Billie or her mother Sadie, as he decided to choose his career over his family. 2 years after Clarence's death, Billie recorded Strange Fruit as a tribute to her father, or in Clarence's memory. In Billie Holiday's childhood, she and her mother lived in poverty, and she started working very young, running errands and cleaning the house of a prostitution's marble stoop. It was there, when she cleaned this house, that she heard Louis Armstrong and Bessie Smith's records through the open windows. When Holiday was only 9 years old, she was sent to a facility for troubled girls. She stated, quote, "I never had a chance to play with dolls like other kids. I started working when I was only 6 years old." In 1928, Holiday and her mother moved to New York City. Her mother started working as a housemaid, but the 1929 depression left her mother without work. When Billie was 18 years old, she was discovered by John Hammond. John Hammond said, quote, "She was the first girl singer I'd come across who actually sang like an improvising jazz genius." Billie changed her name to Billie Holiday as an appreciation to film star Billy Dove. In 1932, Billie auditioned for a singing job and she was hired. For the next few years, Billie sang in Harlem clubs, but then her career took off when Benny Goodman used her on a record. Billie's international reputation was established by a series of recordings made between 1935 and 1939. During the late 1930s, Billie was a big band singer, first with Count Basie in 1937 and then Otis Shaw in 1938. Billie's relationship with Basie's star saxophonist Lester Young is debated about. What is known, however, is that they were musical co-workers and great friends for life. Lester named Billie Lady Day, or just Lady, and that name became Billie's jazz world name from mid-1930s and onward. Holiday in turn named Young Press, or that was short for President of Tenor Saxophonists. Many successful recordings were made of interweaving Young's tenor saxophone with Holiday's voice. After the late 1930s, Holiday and Young rarely recorded together, but they did remain soulmates to the end. In 1935, Holiday starred alongside Duke Ellington in the film Symphony in Black. Billie's career reached its peak in the late 1930s. In 1938, she worked along engagement at Cafe Society, and the following year she joined Benny Goodman in a radio broadcast. 2 songs from the peak of Billie's career are noteworthy. First off is Strange Fruit, as I've understood it, the most famous song of Billie's, or the most recognized. Strange Fruit is a detailed description of a lynching, an unjust killing because of race. The song Strange Fruit was written by Abel Meeropol as a poem. Columbia Records Company considered the song to be too inflammatory and refused to issue it. A small record company called Commodore finally released the song in 1939. It became a big moneymaker because of the songs that were on the backside of the vinyl, and it was called Fine and Mellow, a blues song written by Holiday. Another song considered noteworthy at this period is Gloomy Sunday, which told of such deep despair that it was kept off the airwaves for some time. Holiday was the first black woman to ever work with a white orchestra when she paired with clarinist, composer and bandleader Otis Shaw in 1938. In 1941, Billie Holiday married James Monroe. The marriage, however, was a short one and it ended in divorce. During her relationship with trumpeter Joe Guy in the 1940s, Billie began using heroin. Holiday signed with Decca Records in 1943. In 1944, she received the Esquire magazine's Gold Award for Best Leading Female Vocalist, and she would receive similar rewards in the following years. Holiday appeared with her idol Louis Armstrong in the film New Orleans in 1947, in which she played the role of a maid. Billie was sentenced to 1 year and 1 day of prison time, and she went to a federal rehabilitation facility in West Virginia. Because of this, she was not able to get a license to play in cabarets and clubs. She did, however, manage to play in New York's club Ebony with the help of the owner, John Levy, who would become her boyfriend and manager. After her release from prison in 1948, Billie appeared in Broadway musical Holiday on Broadway. Holiday successfully toured Europe in 1954. She released full-length album called Billie Holiday for Clef Records in 1954 as well. Her autobiography, Lady Sings the Blues, was published by Doubleday in 1956. Billie claimed that she never read the Lady Sings the Blues after it was finished. In 1953, she appeared on the ABC reality series The Comeback Story. In 1957, Billie married Louis Mackay in Mexico. In 1959, Holiday was brought to the hospital for heart and liver problems. During her stay at the hospital, she was arrested for possession of heroin. Billie's final performance was in New York City in 1959. She died later that year at only 44 years old. Billie Holiday died of alcohol and drug-related problems. Over 3,000 people attended her funeral, which was held at the Apostle Roman Catholic Church in New York on the 21st of July in 1959. Billie was buried at St. Raymond's Cemetery in Bronx County, New York. In 1972, Billie Holiday's autobiography was made into a film called the same thing, Lady Sings the Blues. Diana Ross played Billie Holiday in the film. In 1976, Billie's God Bless the Child was inducted into the Grammy Hall of Fame. So, that was all the facts that I had about Billie. Her story is a very sad story, I think. And one thing I do want to add on to the facts is that her relationships were mostly abusive. That makes her story and her life even more sad, I think, because she went through so many things already in her childhood, and she went through the whole experience of being a black woman in the music industry during this time. it's hard being a woman in these days, and I don't have the experience of being a black woman, so I have no idea what black women are going through. I do understand that the oppression extends even further for black women. It's hard to put into words how much I admire her for doing what she did. She obviously impacted the music industry a lot, and she paved a way for other women and other black women in the industry. Today we have a few black women in the music industry, for example Beyoncé, Rihanna, and several others. And it's amazing to think about that Billie was the woman who made it possible for these women to make their career in the music industry. She was truly a mark in the history, a mark in the music history, and a revolutionary mark in the music history. And sadly, a lot of people in the music industry, even to this day, become involved with using drugs and abusing alcohol. And a lot of it, I think, has to do with it is because the lifestyle is very, very hard to maintain. It's very stressful. You have to work a lot of hours. You have a lot of pressure on your shoulders. You have a lot of weight on your shoulders. You have a lot of pressure on you, both to look nice, to sing well, to play well, to do well with the listeners. Nowadays it's a lot, you have to have a lot of views and a lot of listenings on, for example, Spotify. You have to have a lot of numbers in those statistics to make it in the industry. It was obviously different back in those days, but it was still very important that you had a lot of people listening to you, obviously, or else you wouldn't be considered. You wouldn't be a celebrity, you wouldn't be earning money. So obviously there's a lot of pressure, and with this background that she had, with her father abandoning her, I know from my own experience with an absent father that it is very, very, very hard, and it breaks you in a way that you can't quite explain to somebody that has not been through it. And I think that goes for either parent. If a parent doesn't want to be in your life and does not prioritize you, it breaks you. It truly does. It makes you feel like you are unworthy of love, honestly, because your parents are the two people in this world that are supposed to love you no matter what. And if one of them doesn't, I'm not saying that Billie's father did not love her, absolutely not, because I have no idea what their relationship was really like and what his feelings and her feelings were like. But when a father or a parent is absent and does not prioritize you, you feel like you are not worthy of their attention and their love. And like I said, it breaks you, and you carry that burden with you for the rest of your life. It takes a lot of therapy, I think, to restore yourself, to restore that part of yourself that makes you think that you are worthy of attention and love. And I think also when you have an absent parent, especially the parent that are of the gender that you are attracted to, when that parent figure is out of the picture, or you're having a troubled relationship to them, it will probably impact the way that you handle relationships with partners in the future. And as we can see in Billie's story, she didn't have the best relationships, and I think she somehow probably sought out love, sought out the attention and just the appreciation that she always needed as a child. Because I think we all carry a wounded child inside, in a way. Well, some people are lucky and they have perfect upbringings and they have perfect people around them. But most of us, I think, have wounded children inside of us, and I think we spend a lot of our time and a lot of our lives to try and heal that little child that we have inside of us. And it's very, very sad, honestly. And we try so hard, I think. We try so hard to heal this child within ourselves, and we do it in the wrong way sometimes. Through relationships sometimes, and it makes it easier for people who do not have the best intentions to come close to us, and they love to be with people who do not think that highly of themselves and who have insecurities and that have this extra wounded child inside. They just love to seek out people like that. They don't want to be in healthy relationships. They want to be with somebody who are craving this love and craving this attention and does not think that highly of themselves. So yeah, that's just my thoughts about that. And obviously, a lot of the times when it comes to abuse of drugs and alcohol, the background and the childhood of a person is a lot to blame. It's a big deciding factor of what decisions you will make in life, and I think that when you have a hard childhood, you also have an emptiness inside of you. You have a kind of hole inside of you that you are desperately trying to fill with something. You're trying to fill a void with something. And for some people it may be drugs, and for some people it may be alcohol, and for some people like myself, I fill that void with chocolate and sugary things, which is no laughing matter, by the way, because it's not good for your health either. But yeah, that's my thoughts on it. We're all probably having some kind of void inside of us. Well, like I said, there are some exceptions probably, which had perfect childhoods and perfect people around them, but most of us, I think, have holes, voids inside of us that we are trying to fill with something. And there are healthy options to fill the void with, but I think it's also a matter of size of the void. Billie Holiday did not have an easy upbringing, and she didn't have an easy life, and she probably struggled a lot mentally. And a lot of the times you are also trying to run away. You're just trying so hard to not feel the pain that comes with the traumas and the broken child inside. It hurts a lot, and there are a lot of ways, I think, that people try and run away from the pain, and it's very, very, very sad. And also, women, and especially black women, have the oppression side of it as well, that are affecting their mental health and their well-being. So there's just a lot of pain and a lot of darkness in the story of Billie's life. But she was a beautiful woman, and she was extremely talented. Her voice was gorgeous, and she truly did have a talent for singing and for music. And it's just lovely that despite her pain and her darkness, she still gave her music to the world, and she still paved a way for young black women today in the music industry. And that's lovely, and that's something that nobody can take from her, ever. She truly made her mark in the music industry, and that's wonderful. That's a wonderful thing. So with all of this pain and this darkness, there still were light. There still was something positive about. There were a lot of positive things, I think. I think music for her was a medicine too, because a lot of people that are struggling use music as a kind of medicine. I do it. I struggle a lot mentally, and I love music. Both listening and practicing music myself, it's just a healing thing for me. Music heals people. Music brings people together. Yeah, music is just such a lovely thing. It's such a wonderful thing, and I hope that music was a kind of medicine for Billie, and that she found some peace and some pain relief in the music that she made and the music that she listened to. But anyhow, I just wanted to thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, please consider to support this channel, to support this video by liking, commenting, maybe share it to somebody that you think might like it. And I also kindly want to ask you to consider to go to my other channel that I myself put out music on. I sing a lot, and I also recently started to play this little fella back here. I actually recently wrote a song, very recently, like 2 days ago. When I make this video, when I'm recording this video, I wrote a song that I'm going to practice with my little friend, and I'm going to put it out eventually on my other channel, where I put out both covers of others' songs and I put out my own original songs as well. So it would be so appreciated if you would head over there and have a listen. It would warm my heart. That was everything that I had for this video. Bye!